Hey guys, McJeffries here, and welcome to Friday's episode of the McJeffries Network on OpenTTD. Look at GSG. I knew as soon as I started recording it wasn't going to be like this anymore, but right like 5-10 seconds ago this place was busy. You can see the trains moving around, kind of backs up that point. There are trains arriving and departing in all directions, which is absolutely fantastic to see. Mainly because we're not done yet with the number of trains that we're adding to this network. We've still got loads more to go on this particular section of track. So I'm really looking forward to getting into that. In terms of this side of things, diesel side of things, it's very, very quiet. We will revisit the diesel side. Don't you worry, that's not finished. I know it's been a long time since we last looked at it. Very long time actually since we last looked at it. But you know, stations over here like Dartbourne, we will be coming back here because Dartbourne as a city is pretty big now. So it could do with a new transit system, which we will be working on, as I said yesterday, I think it was. Next week's episodes are, sorry, not next week, the week after's episodes. We're going to be working over here at Guard City, which is also massive now as well. Guard City itself is quite big. The rest of it not so much, although Tronfingley, it says 440 there, but that looks a lot bigger than 440. Tin Head has now crossed 1,000, which is awesome. Braston's crossed 1,000, has crossed 2,000 actually, never mind 1,000. And then you've got Readingworth Falls, you've got Padinghead. I'm going to take the Falls off of this. Because again, you don't really have places called falls in the centre of cities. And then you've got Larkburg, which is where Guard City Exchange is, which is doing okay. As you can see by the train movement, there are lots of in and outs. I'm very tempted to add a third set of platforms here, but I'm not quite sure how the dynamic would change with the way that it's working at the moment. It seems to be doing okay. There's a small wait time, which sort of resembles real life scenarios. And then if we come over to Guard City, St. George, in the little borough, I suppose you could call it, of St. George, we are doing very, very well indeed. So let's get on with the route planning, shall we? First of all, we're going to buy some new Class 91s. So let me scroll down. Where are they? Further down than that. They are... I'm going to have to do some more hiding, get rid of some of these trains that I have no intention of using. These tractors I think we might use for freight in the future as well, because they've got pretty good... Actually, I say that, they haven't got that great power. Maybe I'm lying. I think I'm lying. I'm tempted to go for the Challenger actually for this next set. But I think, just for continuity's sake, I'm going to go with the Intercity 225s again. Class 91s. So we're going to go with you. We're of course going to stick it in Virgin East Coast livery. Even though we don't actually run anywhere near a coast, we'll gloss over that. Doesn't really, it's not important. Right, Guardtown St. George. I keep saying Guardtown. Guard City St. George. And then the train depot and then the facility. You are no loading, no unloading. Like that. You are service. You are far end, and also you are no loading. And also, yeah, I'm going to put you in 1 and 4 again. I think there's a nice bit of continuity going on there, which I'm quite happy with. Okay, right, now we're going to go on to the main stuff. We're actually going to go on to the main track. These are all the trains from the original route coming back again. I ended up putting 25 trains on the really long distance route, which I'm starting to regret. So I might take some off again. I feel like I went a little bit overboard with that. But I can always take them off. That's the beauty of this new timetabling system. Is if I have too many trains on a particular service, in fact I won't take... Yeah, sorry. I will take them off. I won't get rid of them though. I'll put them in the depot. Put them under withdrawn. I think that's probably the best place for them. And use them on another route. Again, that is the beauty with what we've got going on here. We reuse trains. We don't get rid of them. They might sit in a depot and not really earn us any money whilst we're doing that, but it's better than just having to rebuy trains all the time. It's not very realistic having to do that. So I much prefer the method that we've got going on now. Right, so this service at the moment only goes as far as Trainingworth. Obviously, in the future, this line will be extending northwards. Trinfing Bridge will be a good location for the first station on one of these lines. It might be this one actually, because this one here will be the line that will go all the way across here and connect up over here. And this would be one that I should actually, whilst we're here, not here, whilst we're here, I'm going to sort of plan this out so that I get it right. So we're going to have a new section here, and we're going to go, I might miss out Bendingston Bay, I might go via Dunningwell Ridge instead, Duningwell Ridge, Dunningwell Ridge, whatever it's called. And then, again, this is like a cross-country route, so I think Linfinfield would be the next good place to stop, and then Huntston, and then Fort Braxton? No, actually, do you know what? I'm going to go here, Buntown and Wrentown. Sorry, Buttown and Wrentown. Very unusual names again. Sonfingpool Bridge. How far away are we? Fair distance still. We've got to go up and over. No, we must have missed it. Yeah, we have missed it. Okay. So at this point, we're coming in too high. So let's delete that line. Start again. It might actually be smarter if we start at this end and work backwards. So let's say Puntown first, and then Teddinghead, and then Brenningville. I think we could cram a station in there, and then up here to Hundworth, Linfingfield. Yeah, now we're back where we were before. Dunningwell Ridge. Yeah, we'll come in north of Dunningwell Ridge, and then finally over to here. Now, I'm not going to build this line right now, but I wanted to plan it out, just so that I know in future where we're going. Change this to 750, all the way down, except for this one here, which is going to be 75, and this one here, which is going to be 1750. No, not 12750, 1750. Good. Autofill. Right, now you are GSG to T. So what are you? You are Express Electric, so EE. GSG to T, and you are 11 units long. Good, good. Where? Right. Grab you. Yep. Drag you into the right category. Good, good. 2, 3, 4 should do it. Just make sure that you are set to go to the right place first. There you go. You are set to autofill. I'm going to wait for... Actually, I've got this going to the wrong depot, haven't I? Let's send you to the right depot first. Delete that. You are service. I will change this to 75 ticks. 75 ticks. There we go. You're set to autofill. Off you go. I'll set the first 2 off. Actually, no. I'll set the first 1 off. To make sure that they leave in the right order. Otherwise it gets a bit messy. Alright, once the first one's gone, I might as well release the other 3. They should be fine. They should all go where they need to go. And that's good news for us. Right. Next up, I am going to get rid of some of these trains on this service that I put in last episode. What I'm going to do is... Where are they? Is it you? No, it's not you. It's this one. So I'm going to grab the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like so. All of you are going to go to depot. You. They're sort of all going to the same depot, which is good news. 1 isn't. I'm okay with that. 2 aren't. 3 aren't. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Just means we're getting these out of the way at least, which is the good thing. So while this is going on, I'm going to go down and take out the shared orders. stop sharing. Then you've got to go back to the top. I'm sure there's a quick way of doing this. If I just do that and control delete. No. What if I don't have one selected? How do I I don't think there is a way to deselect them, is there? Oh well. Just gonna have to go down and do all of them now. All of you, all of you, all of you, all of you. Like so. So you're not sharing, that's good news. I'm just gonna go down and remove all of these. If I open this up, yeah, there we go. That's easier. Stop sharing. And go through delete all these. That's the awesome thing about this system, and I absolutely love this system. Now, I'm so glad I got the patch. It is an awesome patch. Lieutenant Joker, you are awesome for making this patch. It is so much fun now to play with this game with this patch. Everyone who's contributed really to making this game what it is, they are fantastic, because everything you see in this game is free. That's not something you can say very often. This entire game is free to download and free to play. All of the NewGRFs are downloaded in-game. You don't have to go... All the ones I use anyway, apart from the fact that they might be a little bit outdated, but they are all sourced through the game. There's no third party involved. It's such an easy game to get and play. They've done a really, really good job. And as I've said in the past, if OpenRCT2 is anything like this, you'll be seeing that game come into this channel as well. Because the two games I fell in love with when I was a kid were Transport Tycoon and Rollercoaster Tycoon. And if I'm able to bring both of those games to this channel, then I would be very, very happy indeed. I mean, I'm a big fan of RCT3. I think it had a lot of potential, even though the game itself was a little bit rough around the edges. I think it's fair to say. I'm very, very disappointed in Rollercoaster Tycoon World. It's not what it should be at all. Planet Coaster is a lot better, but again, I'm still a little bit... I feel like we're at an age now where you've got games like No Limits that really, really push the realism to the limit, funnily enough. Bit of an ironic name there. I feel if they could make that kind of simulation, even if they had to tone it down slightly, but that style of simulation, but with the business simulation that comes with a Rollercoaster Tycoon game, then you'd have an absolute world beater. And they tried so hard to go for that this time round, and I just feel like they've missed the mark. So, you know, OpenRCT2 is probably the closest, until someone makes an OpenRCT3, which may not be possible actually, considering, you know, RCT2 was built in a very similar style to this that you're seeing right now. It's isometric, it's fairly basic graphics, I suppose, but it's basic graphics in the Minecraft style, where it's done for simplicity reasons and not due to technological limits. That's what makes Minecraft so great, actually, is the graphics aren't what makes the game. You know, the graphics are what you make them. If you want to download texture packs, like shaders or anything like that to make your game look better, that's entirely your decision. The ball's in your court. But as for the, you know, I'm sort of filling time whilst I'm fiddling around with these, because this isn't entertaining as such, but you guys have requested that I do off-camera work on camera, which is what I'm trying to do more of by doing this. So I can't really keep apologising for something that you've been asking for, can I? I make no apologies for the boring nature of this section of this episode. Right. This should just about do it. I'm not sure how long it'll be before these trains... Don't know what a train is. I don't know how long it'll be before these trains get reused. What I do know is it's not going to be today. I'm just going to whack these in to the withdrawn electric. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I'm not 100% sure why these trains sound like diesel trains. You can hear the little whirring going on. It sounds like there's a diesel motor going. Not diesel motor, diesel engine running. The little whining sound. Not quite sure where that's coming from. But, oh well. It's not important. It doesn't really change the game that much. It doesn't affect the game at all. Right, you're sat there waiting. Okay, you're waiting for this train here. That's fine. I can live with that. It's going to be a bit congested around this area. I'm tempted to build a second platform for this particular station, just because of the sheer number of trains that are going to be coming through here now. It would make sense. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do one in both directions, even though we don't really need the incoming one just yet. But it makes sense to sort of pre-plan. I do need this train to get out the way, though. Do these really only stop for 250 ticks? It feels like a lot longer. Yeah, that is longer. That is not 250 ticks. ASE GSG to FH. Right, I'm going to pause this a second, just while I grab that train. GSG to FH. What is going on here? You're supposed to stop for 250 ticks, not 5,000 odd. No wonder these trains are waiting. You damn thing. Right, you 25, you 1,250. Oi, right. Autofill. Make it so. Do it properly. Okay, so you are that type, you are CTA, you are that. Underpass, there, and normal platform again there. Cool. Gonna pop you there. I'm going to put a second crossover here. No, can't because there's a train in the way. Also, it probably would be wiser if I actually put these signals in first. Like so. You're now going to come across like that, which means the next train can be released. Good, good. You're going to connect up like that. Again, good, good. You are going to slope down like that. Not quite sure how that lines up, because it doesn't really look like it does line up at all. Oh well. Right, this train should only be stopping for 250 ticks now. Yes, good, you're on your way. Good, good, good. That means I can fill in the rest of these now. So I'm going to move... Nearly didn't have the chance to do it then. That's now in the way, which is annoying. But I can change that in a second. I will come back to that bit. The next thing I want to do is you quickly swap that over. Benches there. Good, good. Pop you there. You and you there. This and this there. Fantastic. You go like that. You go like that. Get rid of this signal here, which means we then have to upgrade this signal. Do you know what? I'm just going to slap another one in right there like that. Awesome. That just increases the speed in which trains now leave GSG. Should stop that little bit of congestion. Just enough so that the slower trains, or the ones that stop longer, can be overtaken by the faster trains. And yeah, just makes life a little bit easier. Awesome. Okay, right. What's next on the to-do list? Do you know what? I think I will build that connecting line. Wow, this is really lagging when I zoom out like this. It's quite bad. Very slow. Yeah, I'm going to build this connecting line just so that I can run more services in general. So let's see. I want to come up this side of the ridge. And I'm going to adopt the policy that I've been using for the main lines over the last few episodes. 4-track main line, but really it's the semi-fast services run on the inside tracks, and it's all stoppers only that go on the outside tracks. That seems to be a very good system. The journey that we set up in the last episode, I watched that from it, through its entirety, and it does seem to be a very, very efficient way of transporting passengers. Every now and then an express train gets held up behind when they stop at the inside track stations, but it really is only for a few ticks, and then it all gets going again. There's a 25 mile per hour difference between the expresses and the semi-fasts, which, I mean, it's a fair amount, but the expresses can cruise along at 100 miles per hour. behind the semi-fasts anyway, so there's no massive problem there. Plus, as soon as they get to a main station, they overtake anyway. So it seems to be working very, very nicely. It's a functioning system. Everything seems to be, apart from my landscaping skills, which are very off, everything else seems to be as it should be. And as I say that, my landscaping skills are off again. There we go. Right. Should we build? I've completely missed the mark with this. Completely missed the mark. I think what I should do is raise this up. Now I can get all 4 tracks in. Like so. To get it on the same level as this bit here. I say this is a fairly short line, but this is going to be part of a bigger main line in the future. That's kind of going to be avoiding GSG. Really, this is going to be an east to west route that just happens to link up with 2 north to south routes as well. So, you know, make of that what you will. In some ways it's fantastic, in other ways it could be a bit of a problem at some of the junctions trying to get this working. We'll cross some of those bridges when we come to them. If you'll pardon the semi-existent pun. Excuse me, sneezing again. I think there's just like a dust storm or something hiding in my room. I sneeze so much. Also, I just want to follow on from something. I'm recording this on Monday night. As you know, I'm trying to record these I'm trying to record the episodes this week early. So this is the last one of the week, and it's Monday. So that means I've got more time to work on other projects. I've basically given myself just under 2 weeks to work on the stuff that I wanted to work on in the space of a week. So in terms of time management, I'm sort of ahead of myself right now. Monday's episode has gone live. And people have, or George De Silva at least, has responded to the comment I've said about the whole people were commenting on my audio when the audio wasn't actually broken, and how it's a personal frustration of mine. I think it's easier to call it a pet peeve actually. It's a pet peeve that people comment on my videos as they watch them. I love the fact that you guys are commenting. That is not the issue. No one has suggested that is the issue, but I really want to clarify that for everybody's sake. I have absolutely no problem with people commenting. What the pet peeve is people who comment whilst they're watching, because then it isn't really commenting, it's commentating, which is different. You know, again, I'll use the example of the audio, because I'm trying to find a way of saying this where I don't end up so there's no misunderstanding, because as I say, I love the fact that you guys are getting involved now. I really want my channel to be sociable, and I'm not trying to put anybody off. But what I will say is, if you're wanting to comment on one of my videos about a mistake that's made during the video, wait until the end of the video first, because chances are, and I do this a lot, if I fix something off camera, then that's fine. You don't know that I've fixed it off camera. You can still, you know, it's not a problem if you say this isn't working or this isn't going to work, because you don't know that I've fixed it off camera. And it won't be until the next episode, which could be, in some cases, it could be several days before the next episode comes out. Not in this series, but in other series that I've got. It could be a while before the next episode comes out. So I totally get that. That's fine. But if I fix something in the same episode, hold out till the end. Hold out to the end. Have faith in me, guys. I do notice these things. It might take me a little while at times, but if I make a mistake, I do tend to notice, because I try and, as I'm sort of wrapping up the episode, I do go back and sort of look over what I've done. And I'm sort of reviewing it as I'm talking you through it. That's why I do that, really. You might be wondering why I go back and I sort of do it. In this episode, we did this, this, and this. And that's really my way of giving myself the opportunity, really, to just go back and check over everything and make sure things are in the right place and things are working. And even then, I do miss things out, and that's totally fine. I am human after all. And if the episode comes to an end and I haven't fixed the issue that you wanted to say, that's when you say. That's when you start typing and you say, you know, you missed this, or that's not working, or should have done this instead. That's absolutely fine. And to be honest, that is really, really useful, helpful information. As I say, it's a pet peeve. You know, I don't lie awake at night because of it or anything like that. I guess what it really is I get semi-frustrated because it sort of says to me in a way that people aren't watching all of my videos all the way through. Obviously the audio issue was a massive mistake on my part, and I imagine a few people might have switched off after a minute because of that. But if they'd have watched to, I think it was 2 minutes 30, when I actually noticed and fixed the problem. If they'd watched that far into the video, they would have noticed that I'm using the word noticed a lot, but you would have realized, or they would have realized, that I noticed the problem, fixed the problem, and for the rest of the episode, it wasn't a problem anymore. I say it was a stupid mistake by me. Sometimes I get a little bit complacent when I'm recording. I didn't forget about my live stream, but I forgot that OBS was set up for the live stream. Normally I just load up OBS, click on the specific scene that I want to capture, and hit start record. That's normally how it works. Because I did that live stream, I did switch it off so it didn't start broadcasting on Twitch, because that would have been, I mean, it wouldn't have been awkward because you would have been able to hear me through the microphone still, but it would have been unplanned, unscheduled, and very, very sort of panic-stricken as I'm going, oh, no, didn't want to do that, and then switching it off again suddenly. But yeah, I noticed the problem, is the point I'm making. I noticed the problem and I fixed the problem. Some people, it's almost like they weren't giving me the opportunity to notice that there was a problem. And they were telling me straight away that there was a problem with the audio. One thing I do, if I'm watching a video and the audio is a bit bad, is I do skip ahead slightly. What I do is I skip ahead until I see a point where the audio is fixed, if it gets fixed. And then I start working my way back through the video to the point at which it gets fixed. So that I end up watching the video still, but from where the audio is good onwards, or even where the video is good onwards. So if I get black screen or anything like that, I'll skip forward to where the picture returns, and then I'll start heading back to try and find out where exactly the problem was fixed, so that I don't really miss anything. Sometimes I will just carry on watching. I give people the benefit of the doubt, really. You know, if it's an hour-long video and 20 seconds is black screen, I won't put a comment saying black screen or anything like that, because it's such a small percentage. As I say, I don't know the exact length of the video that my audio was messed up on, but I know that 2 minutes in I fixed it. And the video must have been about 40 odd minutes. Knowing me, it was somewhere between half an hour and an hour, because that's what I do. I'm very, very good at running over time. So that really means that a fraction, the utmost tiniest fraction of the video had messed up audio. And yet, I do feel like people stop watching the video because of that. So I've lost potential viewership, which is my mistake. But I also feel a little bit peeved that there's no one out there who sort of thinks, oh, I'll give this a chance, he might fix it. That's what gets me. That's the real pet peeve there, is the lack of faith. I would say that most people who've been following me for a long time, this does not apply to you. I know you guys. I know you very well. As viewers, you are fantastic. You are with me through my good times and my bad times. And if anyone's going to slap me on the wrist for making a mistake, it's you guys. For example, here, I've made a massive mistake because I've completely messed up this alignment, but simple as fixed. Simple as that. But anyway, this is me moaning again. I'm doing a lot of moaning in my videos. I'm turning into a very grumpy old man. I'm only 23 years old, and yet I feel like I'm 50 with some of the moaning I do. I should probably cut that out, really, shouldn't I? There's a program on British TV called Grumpy Old Men, and I think there's a Grumpy Old Women that's on now as well. I definitely feel like one day I'll be on that type of show. Just sitting there going, oh, everything's rubbish, it's all wrong. Which is kind of ironic, considering I hate that type of person normally. But seems to fit in with my character a lot at the moment. I moan about politics, I moan about the future of British railways, I moan about being a student, everything I can possibly moan about. I believe me, I fire from both barrels. I even moan about commenters. That's how much of a moaner I can be. But I do it for the right reasons, guys. As I say, you're all fantastic. You're all amazing. Half of my ideas wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for you guys. So the fact that I'm even calling them my ideas is false. They are most definitely not all my ideas. This line here was my idea. No one said build an east to west link or anything like that. But Guard City Exchange was George De Silva's idea. Warding-Hatton Central, the electrification of that was not my idea. To be honest, the big stations in the first place on the previous map was not really my idea. I had one big station, and that was it. That was all I was going to build in the original guard town. And then someone said, why don't you build some more? And originally, I think I said this before actually, originally I was going to say, absolutely not. I'm happy with the ones that I've got, which is a single station. But then I looked over it again and thought, actually, I'm supposed to be making a network that's realistic. And realistically speaking, a capital city has more than one main station. So I built 3 more. Although one of them was a metro only one, I built 2 more main stations, and then I built a 3rd massive metro station. This time round I'm going to go for loads of massive terminals. We're going to go terminal crazy, guys. You're not going to believe how many stations I've got planned for Guard City, which is why Guard City now isn't just one town. It's going to be about 12, 13. Each one's going to represent a borough. As you know, major cities are split into boroughs or regions or sections, whatever word you want to use. My way of resembling that on here, city skylines, you can create a district and you give it a name and you give it its own policies. Here I'm just going to use towns. So each town is a region of the city. So as you know, the City of London exists within London, and the City of Westminster exists within London as well. Guard City is my City of London. That's the main hub. It's where GSJ is. It's just, yeah, it's the biggest part of the city. As you saw from earlier on in this video, it is absolutely massive. Massive population. Very big population. The rest of them, I mean, St George is going to grow obviously as the station expands. The station isn't finished really. There's a lot more metro and tram links to come in. The actual railway side of it, I think we're pretty much done with GSG. I don't want to overfill it. It is struggling in some respects. As I said, train flow itself is actually okay, but I don't want to jeopardize it by adding any more. I like the fact that we've got the terminus platforms and the through platforms. That makes life a lot easier to manage in terms of train movement. It's one of the reasons why the last few routes we've had one that terminates at GSJ, but the rest have all run through, because actually the run through going through Guard City Exchange is a lot easier to plan out and actually keep going. The rest of it can get a little bit tricky at times with the whole terminating, because when a train terminates, it sits in that platform for however long. So it could be anywhere between 250 and 500 ticks, which, you know, if there's another train waiting to use that particular platform, 500 ticks is quite a long time. If there are no other trains waiting, then obviously it's no problem. But as I say, if there's a train waiting, 500 ticks suddenly turns into a very, very long time, and you're sort of sat there agonizingly waiting for that train to move out the way, because then you see the next train behind it come along, and then the train after that, and the train after that, and the train after that, and they all just start queuing. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. So train flow is a big issue of mine right now, but it's managing. I'm managing it very nicely with those through platforms. It also means we can have a replication of the Thameslink system, so trains running through the centre of a city and out the other side. Very good example. I love watching the trains sort of run across that bridge. I don't know what it is. The fact that they're running so close together at the same speed. And actually, I'll have to show you this again in a video. So I've got GSG in a video lined up. Just watching trains come in and out. Guard City Exchange is the other one. Especially once it's finished as a proper station. Just watching the centre rail trains do their thing through that station. They go through that station with just enough time so that they alternate platforms. And it's so awesome to actually watch it working. Because I was very, very worried when I first built it that it just wouldn't work. But I don't know, it just, something about it has clicked, and it works really, really nicely. And it is so much fun to just sit and watch. This shows the sort of the nerd that I can be at times. I just love sitting back and watching what I've built, watching how these things work. It's not bragging or anything like that, because believe me, there are a lot of things still that need fixing in this network. But it's a unique opportunity to actually survey the track and the trains, and it's a good opportunity for me to see if there's anything that needs improving. I think that's why I do it so much. Because I do just sit there and think, okay, that's running smoothly, that's running smoothly. And I make little tweaks, or I suddenly have an idea and implement that. Loads of things that you just don't get to see. And I can understand why people have asked to see that. If you're really, really wanting to see the sort of... I mean, I keep saying behind the scenes, but it's not really. If you want to see more about my thought process, I am happy to do that. It's why I talk out loud as well whilst I'm doing things. I might be talking about a subject and then I'll suddenly switch over to what I'm doing. Because it's important stuff. You know, there are some really, really important things that I'm building. And people might want to replicate it themselves. They might want advice on how I do it. I say the way I do it, I wouldn't say is the best way to do it. Absolutely not. Everyone has their own unique play style. And that's what makes this game so great, is people can do things differently. What I like to do though is share my method. So if there is anyone out there who wants to do something similar, they can. It's as simple as that. They don't have to worry so much about you know, having to sit there themselves and design it from scratch. I didn't have to worry about that. I had huge inspiration from Zest Husky, massive inspiration from loads of other YouTubers, some of which were great, some of which, you know, some of my inspiration even comes from, I see someone build something and I think, well, I wouldn't have done it like that. This is how I would have done it. And then I'll think, oh, I might actually go ahead and build that then. And then that's what happened. I mean, the way this series started, you'll remember, those of you who've watched from the first episode. If you haven't, I can kind of recommend you go back and check it out. But I had an original network which was inspired by Zest Husky, as you saw. One main station, which at the time I don't think was called GSG. I think it was called just Guardtown. And then we had the little station off to the side at Lunwood. And we had a bit of a main line, and that was about it. And I sort of sat there and said, this is what I've already got, now watch as I rebuild it from scratch. At that point I'd already got rid of the majority of the trains. It was just a blank canvas with some lines already in place. That was my starting block. And if there's anyone out there who sort of wants to be inspired and start from a blank canvas, that's the kind of thing you will do. You will build something and then you'll either love it or you hate it. If you hate it, no problem, because you can just take it back to how you started. You know, I didn't get rid of the tracks because I thought the tracks were actually good, but the train services I had, I really felt could do with improvement. So I got rid of them. Started again. And actually talking out loud to you guys, it helps me think. It might not sound it. It might sound like I'm a colossal idiot at times when I'm talking out loud. And I might lose what I'm saying, or I might confuse myself or confuse you. But there is some method to the madness. There is a cog or two whirring away in my head, trying to come up with interesting and unique ways to actually make this series something special. I'd like to think that I'm successful with that, but it's up to you guys to tell me that. You know, it's all well and good for me to sit here on my own and think, I did a really good job with that last episode, but if no one else likes it, then it doesn't matter what I think. So, it's one of the reasons why I say, excuse me, it's one of the reasons why I say at the end of my videos, if you like the video, drop a like. Hit that like button. If you like the series, same thing, hit the like button. You don't have to hit the like button if you didn't like the video. But if you didn't like it, you know, tell me what I can improve on. As a YouTuber, I know there's a lot of things that I can work on to actually make the quality of my videos better. There is still a little bit of screen tearing as I do this, so I'll try not to do that too often, because I imagine there's a few people getting motion sick as well, so I apologise for that. But you know, if there's anything about my editing style that's a little bit off, if there's anything about my delivery, you know, the way I speak or what I say, if there's anything there that could do with tweaking, by all means, I'm open to ideas. If there's any ideas that you want to share, so if you want me to build a specific type of line, if you want me to build a specific station style, if you want me to use a specific type of train, all you have to do is drop it down in the comments and let me know. That's what the comment section is for. before? No. That's what the comment section is for. There's one of my speaking issues. That's going to be worked on, believe me. If I can get my tongue around certain words of the English language. You wouldn't think at times that English is my main language. I'd love to sit here and say I was raised French and I had to learn English and that's why my English isn't great, but that would be totally untrue. I was born in England. I do speak a little bit of French and a little bit of Spanish, but even that's no excuse. You know, I'm 23 years old, for Christ's sake. I've lived in England long enough now and been speaking English long enough that there's absolutely no excuse as to why I keep tripping over my words. But I do. That's sod's law, unfortunately. Part of life. Right, we are pretty much done with this line. Is there a... yeah, there's a signal offset here. That's interesting. How did that tunnel manage to offset this? Oh, I suppose here they were offset because of this curve, and then the tunnel actually made them right again. That would be it. That's fine. What we can do is build... actually, I'll build that there, and I'll build this one this side here, like so. It's a bit of a staggered platform here, but that's absolutely hunky-dory. Not a problem. Apart from I can't decide what tiles should go where. But yeah, as I was saying, this is my perfect example of I lose my train of thought. Drop comments down below. Keep social. That's what it's all about. Keep in constant contact with me, guys. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. If you want me to talk about specific things in my videos, just tell me. I will say now, no more High Speed 2. I'm laying down the law on that one because I've talked about it so much in my videos. There isn't really much left to say about it. You know, it exists. The project exists. That's it. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. I'm sorry if people out there want me to talk about it. If you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Second of all, if you want to see more about me talking about High Speed 2, check out my last few videos, because that's really where it gets brought up. I mean, check out all my videos, because I talk about a lot of subjects in a lot of my videos. It very much gets mixed and matched. So, yeah, give it a view, give it a listen, and if you want me to add anything or take anything away, it's got to tell me. In the meantime, I'm going to quickly route this service here. So, where are we now? We're at Trainingworth, aren't we? So, I'm going to add that there, and then here I'm going to go up the hill to Tuningwell Ridge North, and then through the tunnel. I love building these tunnels now. That's what, again, it's about the realism. Between where I live and King's Cross, there aren't that many tunnels, but after Potter's Bar, heading south, there is a tunnel which goes under the M25 along with housing estates, etc. And I think it's Oakley Park. There's a tunnel either side of that, or it might be New Southgate. I can't remember. But there's more and more tunnels as you actually go into London. And I read the other day, again it was to do with my railway magazine, I was reading an interview with the head of Virgin East Coast. There are plans to reopen the third tunnel at King's Cross, which I think I mentioned that before and said it'd be a really good idea if they actually did that. And it looks like that is actually going to happen, which is cool. You know, I think that's a very good idea. It's about bloody time. But little things like that. You know, I'm keeping tabs on everything that's going on in the real world right now, so that when it comes to this series, I can replicate it or improve it. And I did not mean to do that. I shut the window by mistake when I didn't want to do that, because I didn't change. Oh no, it did change. Cool, okay. I must have pressed delete at the same time. So now you don't go to T, you go to P, but you go via T. So I'm going to put that in. So what are you? You are SFE. I'm full of abbreviations in this series as well. CS2T, you're this one. I'm going to change you to P via... Oops. Yeah, via T. There you go. 15 trains should be more than enough. You see, we're currently at GSG. Yep, we're at GSG. And actually here is a very good place to end the episode, guys. So, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, be sure to click the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to my channel, thank you guys for your continued support. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you're enjoying the series. Drop some comments down below if you have ideas for future episodes. If you didn't like the video, drop a dislike, but tell me why, so that I can improve for next time. Don't forget, guys, next week, no OpenTTD videos. I will be working on my website. I'll be working on new outros, new thumbnails for this series and for the next series, although for this series they won't appear until episode 100. You might have noticed a little bit of a theme going on. But yeah, that's what I'll be getting on with. I will be around still to reply to comments, of course. If you have any questions or anything like that, drop me a message and I'll reply to it almost instantaneously, as I try to do all of the time. But yeah, have a good week next time, guys. Next week. Have a good weekend this week and next week. And until next time, I will see you soon.